Do you see on the YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All righty. We are here. Good to know. Yep. Let's get started. Do you see on the YouTube?
Good evening to all the viewers who've joined us today. I'm Sanya Rajesh, your host for the evening. Some of the most common questions that were asked regarding when the right time to pursue your higher education abroad is regarding whether it's for undergrad or right after your graduation or after gaining a little bit of work experience, what are the possible challenges one might face, and how to know if you're Ivy League ready. Well, to answer all your questions are here with us today two Harvard alumni, Dhruva Bhatt and Rashmi Gowda. Allow me to introduce you to Dhruva Bhatt. Going to an Ivy League school such as Harvard University is a dream for many. For Dhruva, this dream became a reality. He got into Harvard with financial aid and graduated with a degree in Bachelor's of Art Economics. As a recipient of the Rhodes Scholar, he continued to pursue his master's in the University of Oxford and is currently pursuing a PhD in Oxford University in International Development. Dhruva is also the director of Lumiere Education. Lumiere Education is a research program that helps connect students with scholars and mentors from top universities. Hi Dhruva, welcome to the show. We're super excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Really excited for this conversation and to reminisce a little bit about Harvard and answer any questions that people have.
Looking forward to it. Moving on to our next speaker, Rashmi Gowda. Rashmi is a Harvard Kennedy School graduate who firmly believes in universal access to higher education. Rashmi is the COO and the co-founder of ScoreLeap Test Prep, and with over 15 years of business experience, along with an MBA degree, she aims to apply her skills and knowledge to build a strong future generation through ScoreLeap. ScoreLeap does this by providing guidance and mentorship support to those who aspire to attend universities abroad. Rashmi is ranked in the top 10 corporate women leaders by the Women Entrepreneur India. Thank you so much, Rashmi, for joining us today.
Thanks, Sanya. Thanks a lot for that welcome speech, and I'm excited for this event.
Me too. So before we get started with the event, Dhruva, would you like to introduce Lumiere Education to the audience?
I would love to do that. So hi, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Before we dive into the meat of what we're here for, which is the conversation, I want to give you a bit of context about who I am and why we are here. So as Sanya mentioned, did my undergrad degree in economics at Harvard. I'm now pursuing a PhD, and alongside that, have been running a research program for ambitious and talented high school students from around the world. And it's a one-on-one research program where they work with PhDs from top universities in the US and the UK to develop an independent research project that they can build into future publications, internships, competitions, applications, all of those things. And so the goal is to help students explore the world of research, develop and understand their interests better, and try and help make a difference in the world through creating new knowledge that we might not have had before. Just in the last year, we've had the privilege and honor of working with nearly 600 students from almost 30 different countries and have given out more than $55,000 in financial aid, a number that we're seeking to grow over the upcoming year as well. It's a selective program where students can apply through a written application. They are then interviewed, and if they're selected, they get matched with a mentor, and then they kick the program off. And over the course of 12 weeks, they work one-on-one with the mentor to initially explore the topic, then pick a research question, and then dive deep into that topic and write a 15 to 20-page research paper with the mentor serving as a guide, a supervisor who's giving them feedback, pointing them to the right resources, helping them out if they have any issues. At the end of it, we have a graduation ceremony where we celebrate these students, and then we send them out into the wild. We've had students do research in pretty much every field imaginable, from art history and literature to machine learning and political science, all the way through to genetics and even cryptology. And we have a pool of over 400 mentors from some of the world's top universities who are excited and eager to work with high school students on their research ideas. Here is just a sample of some of the incredible mentors that we have. And some of the students that we've had. We've had students from, as I mentioned, from the US, from India, from Vietnam, and a number of other countries. I had the privilege of working with Jaden. She was interested in exploring economics. Shreyas brought together his interests in tennis and machine learning to create a really cool predictive algorithm that tried to understand the effect of a player's handedness, whether a player is left or right-handed, on their success rates. And Lynn was from Vietnam, and she explored how protesters in Hong Kong use the visual arts to express their interests. These are scholars that we're incredibly proud of, and I always like to say, once you're a Lumiere scholar, you're a Lumiere scholar for life. And our scholars have gone on to, just in this last year, attend universities, including 5 to 7 Ivy Leagues, Stanford, UC Berkeley, and Oxford. And we cannot wait to see what paths these students continue to break in the future and the kinds of things that they go on to achieve. So if this is of interest to you, please log on to our website, www.lumiere-education.com. And I'm excited to hear from hopefully some of you on your research interests and research pathways.
Wow, that's an amazing, interesting one there, Dhruv. What you're doing for students, really interesting.
Thank you, Rashmi. It really came from, I think, growing up in Chennai. I went to a CBSE school, as many of the people watching probably did. And research just wasn't a thing that we had any exposure to. And until I went to university, and I'm sure we're going to talk about how important research is at a place like Harvard. And then Stephen and I, who founded Lumiere together, he was a classmate of mine from Harvard, we're thinking about how much our nerdy high school selves would have liked doing research and diving into a research project. And we figured, why not start this for high school students to have the opportunity to do it? And it's been great to see the level of interest and hunger that there is among students for it. But that's what I do. I'm excited to hear, Rashmi, about ScoreLeap as well. So I think over to you.
Lovely. Thanks, Dhruv. So let me tell you a little bit about the ScoreLeap. So, me and Kalyan have started off the ScoreLeap. ScoreLeap is basically a marketplace. We help students study abroad and connect. We basically connect a lot of experts, professionals to mentors, admission counselors, alumni, current students. Basically, these people who are like qualified, available, and are interested in helping study abroad students with their educational objective. So till date, we have helped 1,500 approximately students, and we send them to many of the top Ivy League schools. Our students go through the entire process of preparing for test prep through us, GRE, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL. So we make sure that we provide that one-on-one attention to our students. Oops, sorry, I don't think I'm sharing I went straight on to it. All right, so let me just, can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So basically what services do we provide? I'm just going to jump through it. Not going to go through the whole series of presentations that I have. What service that we provide? Basically, we help students prepare for the exam, GMAT, GRE. We've had amazing scores. Recently, we got 760 on GMAT, SAT recently 1530, 800 upon 800 and quant. So we've got some brilliant students who are pursuing to go to top Ivy League schools. So once they take up these exams, then we help them build their profile. How do you go about making sure it's not only academics that's there in your resume, but also extracurricular activities, right? How do you make it a well-rounded application? So we tell the students, okay, what's your passion? How do you go about building it? Where can you get the internship? So we help them with that whole process. Then once the student is ready, that is, once it is the fall application procedure time, then we go about looking at the student's profile and matching that to the right college that they want to get into. We help them, basically pick the right college based on their interests, whatever that they want to pursue. Help them refine their SOP, essays, recommendation letter, basically telling them how to package their whole profile such that the essay tells an amazing story, why they want to go to that particular college. So we assist them, guide them through that entire process. Many of our students go with amazing scholarships. Till now, we've been able to get 1.5 million scholarship to many of the students who've gone through us. We're very proud to say our own seed investor is somebody who went through us to Wharton and graduated to Wharton. So just to say how great it feels to know that students have so much of conviction with the content and the deliverables that we do, that they actually want to make sure that we are reachable to many more students across the world. So over the last year, what we've done is we have 550 videos that we have produced, all VFX oriented videos, and students can learn on their own self-paced format. It's all available on our website. We also launched our mobile app last year. We see a great number. Just to mention one number is like we have 18 minutes 54 seconds average viewers retention time. That I believe is a great number to hear. And right now we are not charging anything on the mobile app. So whosoever want to learn GMAT, please go ahead and download our app, and you're set to go. We have built in some amazing mock test, which will evaluate your entire test taking process, based on which you can like refine your test taking skills, timing skills, or just the concept itself. We want to continue to make sure our students reach out to better mentors across the world. Next year, we're planning about coming up with a marketplace where students can connect to any mentors who are either pursuing, a course in that particular college of interest, or probably graduated from them. You can connect to them directly, set up a schedule with them, and have a mentoring session, everything on one single platform. That's what we plan to build in the coming year, so that we can reach out to many more students and make their future lots better. So that's something about what I wanted to say from ScoreLeap. Now, also, I have a few things. Probably, maybe I won't go into them. Just quickly, I just want to show a few of the testimonial. One of our advisor, Neeraj Biani, went to Stanford through us. He's the current mentor with us right now. And then, Shreya Damodikar and Kritika are ready. Last year they went in, and this is, I know it's a little lengthy feedback to read in there, but I have it here on the slide. And as we go about, I think we've thought of addressing later what are the things that needs to get built into the application. Maybe I can come back to that and address few-point here on this particular slide. Let's move on with the next concept. We have 15 minutes of session at the end to take in any question and answer. So if anybody of you please have any query, just please put it up on the chat. We should be able to address it at the end. Meantime, I talk amazing stuff with what Dhruva also had to say about his journey at Harvard, bringing back a lot of memories. I'm excited to hear from Dhruva too. Thanks. Thank you so much. On to Sania.
Thank you so much, Rashmi, for introducing ScoreLeap to the audience. And before we get started, audience, please note that the last 15 minutes is a Q&A session, and please feel free to drop all your queries in the comment section, and we will try to address them all based on the availability of time. Well, I'm super excited to kickstart the show. So Dhruva, Rashmi, are you ready?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about your journey to Harvard? And Rashmi, what led you to choose MPA after 13 years of experience? And also a little bit about your journey post-graduating from Harvard.
All right. Okay, let me start off. I started off as a computer science engineer, and then jumped into entrepreneurship world right after that in 2005. I had a great journey. First one being an education company, second one being a construction company, which led me to Harvard. The challenges the challenges that I faced and what I learned through running Rashmi infrastructure kind of guided me to do masters in public administration as a Mason fellow in Harvard. So from 2010 to 2016, that's what I did. In 2017, I kind of took a break. I learned yoga. Entrepreneurship had gotten too much into me. I learned yoga. I backpacked for 3 months in US, and that's when I realized, okay, what next? And then I ended up in Boston one day, going through Harvard University. I'm like, okay, I'm applying. so my journey was like 10 days. While I was backpacking there, I sat in one of my friend's place and I wrote the application, and I submitted to a few more other colleges too, but I submitted to Harvard too. I'm like, okay, let's see. Right. So that's how my journey to Harvard happened. And I got in the year of 2018, finished by 2019. And right after that, I got an opportunity to work in DC in a company called I4DI, which was working with USAID as an agency. And right after that, COVID happened, and here I am. Then it was a little stressful scenario while I was by myself in DC, all by myself for 4 months. But I'm happy it happened. It brought me back to ScoreLeap education, which has always been my passion. Like teaching, holding on to people and teaching something to them comes very naturally, which I have done even to my, the maid kids or anybody as such. So the teaching, or even in my class, to all my classmates. So I'm very happy to having gotten back to ScoreLeap and help few more achieve their dream career, get into their dream schools.
I love hearing that, Rashmi. Your journey to Harvard always amazes me. I think you must be the only person I know who ran a construction company and then did that. So truly incredible path.
Thanks, Dhruva.
Yeah, it's a really interesting journey.
Thanks. Yeah, but it made me stronger. Being in construction company, we had to deal with bureaucrats, we had to deal with politicians, from site engineers to everybody. It was like, I would have to say, from a very a traditional family to become a woman in construction field. I think that's what got me to Harvard. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I can take a shot at that as well. So like Rashmi, I also had 13 years of experience. If by 13 years of experience, you mean UKG first standard, second standard through till 12th standard. I went straight from school to undergrad, but it wasn't necessarily a straightforward path because I went to I didn't go to like an international or IB school, like a lot of students who go from India to the US for undergrad. I went to a CBSE school here in Chennai, which was academically very strong. Lots of people who went to the NITs or the IITs, but hardly anyone who applied abroad for undergrad. So I think in my class of 250, there were maybe 4 of us who applied to the US for undergrad, and I think only about 3 of us who actually ended up going. And so that meant that it wasn't something that was around me, wasn't something that I really had any conception of as being possible. And what really changed that for me was that I got heavily into competitive debating. So I was on my school's debate team, and then I got selected to represent India at the World Schools Debating Championships. And by exploring so many different topics, ranging from political science to religion to culture, through debates, I found my horizons were really expanded, and I got to meet students who were applying to these really strong universities abroad. And so I figured if they could do it, I should also give it a shot. But the main stumbling block, of course, was finances. Harvard cost $60,000 a year, and so didn't expect that I would actually be able to go, but thought I should try applying. So I applied to a bunch of universities, got soundly rejected from most of them, but ended up getting into a couple: Emory University in Atlanta, Amherst in Massachusetts, and Harvard. And Harvard gave me a full ride based on financial need. So the choice was pretty obvious there. And ended up going in 2013 and spent 4 amazing years in Boston. I think I missed Rashmi by about a year, but after that, decided to go into grad school. So yeah, that was my journey to Harvard and my sort of time there, and excited to dive into that a little bit deeper now.
Amazing.
Wow,
Amazing.
that sounds incredible.
Amazing, Dhruv. All set for the debate.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
This one's for both of you. How does one build their profile before applying to an Ivy League institution?
Yeah, so the term profile building was not something I had heard of ever in high school. It wasn't something I did consciously, because I didn't even know that I was going to be applying abroad till like 11th grade. And so what I really did through high school was do things that I enjoyed, and worked really, really hard at them and did well in them. So debating, of course, was my major thing. I competed through high school and was on the national team 3 years in a row. But I also did a couple of other things. So I learned German at the Max Muller Bhavan, which is the German government sort of cultural outreach centers in India, and did that independently. Ended up representing India at the International German Olympiad, which is the nerdiest competition in the world. So my extracurricular activities were debate and German competitions. And so ended up getting a bronze medal there. And so that was, I think, an additional international achievement that contributed to my application, in addition to which I had some school level things. So I had consistently good grades through high school, sort of in the 90 plus range, and was also the head boy of my school. So I think between those different things, I managed to put together an application that stood out. And clearly, there was a lot of luck involved as well, because there was something that Harvard saw in me that all of the other Ivy League universities didn't. So I think it's a combination of identifying things you're good at, working really hard at them, and then keeping your fingers crossed and hoping luck goes your way.
Right. Amazing, Dhruv. So I completely agree with all of the pointers that you made. But coming from the ScoreLeap side, I'm also going to, like, I'm sure there are many viewers out there who wants 1 or 2 tips. So I'm also going to like come in and say about my story, but put in 1 or 2 points. So like Dhruv said, it's all about passion. Completely agree with passion, because Dhruv had that amazing passion. He could go about pursuing and go deeper into whatever his interest was. So I the first tip that I would say about building an amazing profile is follow your passion and let it show through your resume. So in my case, I had 13 years of experience. I had started 2 companies. I had invested in a media company. Always, I was very passionate. Anything that I did, I was very passionate about it. The entrepreneur journey kind of got me into mentoring women entrepreneurs. I was a certified bartender. I had taken part in many of the political campaigns and other extracurricular activity. I had hiked mountains, like I just said earlier, backpacked in US for about 3 months. Now my passion has been from past 5 years. I've been practicing yoga and spirituality, something that I've added into my whole list of things that I have been doing. So all of these perspectives that is, added and made my profile what it is to be able to apply to Harvard. But mine was more like a mid-career course, wherein the profiles and what you had achieved over your career and the quality of it really mattered, like how those put across that whole well-rounded resume. So that is the second point I want to mention. Not only your academics, but also make sure that you guys are taking part in other extracurricular activities. Whatever might be your passion, pursue that, more in depth. Go ahead, full on, feel like, whatever that might be, whatever the field that it might be, like you like being on social media, be number one at that. You like a particular sport, be number one at that, right? So making the profile well-rounded is very important. And many people ask me about, people who have experience especially ask me, oh, I have so many years of experience. Is this sufficient? Can I apply to such a college? Then I always say, it's not really the number of the experience, it's not the quantity, it's the quality, the depth that is there in your resume that really matters. Whatever that passion it is, like I mentioned, make sure it comes through your your work and it reflects in your resume. Yeah. That's what I would say to build in a great profile.
So what would you say about the academics at Harvard?
Oh, yeah. So Dhruv, why don't you talk about it? Yeah.
My experience was sort of being thrown into the deep end, because I never read an academic paper in my life, never written anything longer than like an English board exam essay. And so having to launch into Harvard's first year was pretty challenging, and that's part of what inspired Steve and me to start Lumiere as well, is that we thought that there were skills that were needed for an undergraduate education of the highest quality that high school students simply weren't getting. So the biggest thing that Harvard at the undergrad level focuses on is it's a liberal arts system. And what that means is that you get 1.5 to 2 years to explore your various interests and try out different things before you decide on your major and you specialize in that. And in fact, not only are you able to explore, you have to explore, because there is certain different categories of subjects that you have to take classes in. So even though I studied economics and did pretty quantitative courses in economics, taking classes in statistics and math, I had to take classes in science. So I took classes in psychology and environmental studies. I had to take classes in the humanities. So I took classes on poetry and Indian religions. And then I also chose to explore beyond that and took classes in political science. I continued learning German through undergrad. So the ability to do all of these different intellectual pursuits made me, I genuinely think, a much more interesting and capable person who could carry a conversation with people on such a wide variety of topics and areas of interest. And that's great for you as a person, because it means that you can develop your interests more than you could if you just went to a sort of straight-laced, do one thing type of undergrad. But it also helps you out in the workplace, in interviews, and all of these places when you're trying to connect with another person on what it is that they're interested in. So that was my academic experience, just like a buffet of things that I gorged myself on, and that set me up really well for future endeavors.
Amazing.
So well-rounded experience.
Amazing. So were there any particular course that you kind of like remember? Because there's one thing that I am going to talk about. So I'm just very curious to know which is that course that made an impact and you still carry that in your mind?
Yeah. So for me, my favorite courses were with these like old established professors who were under no pressure whatsoever because they'd made their name already and actually could spend the time teaching students and sort of engaging with us. So three particular professors come to mind. One was my thesis advisor, Dale Jorgensen, who I took 2 classes with. He used to be head of the economics department. He was actually Ben Bernanke, who was the head of the U.S. Central Bank back in the day. His senior thesis advisor, and so Dale is now 85, and he was just sort of a titan in the field. And I took 2 classes with him, one on micro and one in macro economics, and I still remember going to his office every week to discuss my thesis and the feedback that he would give and the time that he would make for me despite the level of prominence that he was at. So that kind of humility and kindness, I think, really stood with me. The second was this professor named Helen Wendler, who is, once again, I think, about 85 years old now. So she is one of America's top poetry critics, has published incredibly influential works on poets like Wendell Berry. And her, I took 2 classes with her once again. And what stood out to me was that she would come into class and just recite poetry right out of memory, not because she had spent a ton of time memorizing it. Of course, she had worked on that, but just because of how familiar she was with the entire modern poetry canon and her ability to draw on different influences and point to different connections between poems still sticks with me till today. And so those are two professors. And the final one is Diana Eck, who is an expert on Hinduism. I think she's from Minnesota or one of those really comparatively unheard of American states. And she ended up spending a year in India when she was in graduate school and working on a thesis on Benares. And then that became a lifelong commitment to Hinduism. And I think what that stood out to me from there is that I feel like that level of intellectual curiosity where you say, this is a country that I had never been to before, but I want to spend my life studying this country and this religion is something that all of us could do with a bit of, especially when as our countries and our societies become more and more inward looking, to say, you know what, I'm going to spend the rest of my life studying Kazakhstan, and that is totally okay, is something that I think more parents should be okay with and more students should be okay with. So those are 3 professors that stand out to me in their classes. And I'm going back for my 5-year reunion in May, and I'm so excited to see all of them again.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you more about how our course was. So like I said, average work experience of our class was 12 years. Wow. And we were about 200 of the students from 60 different countries. And not only just the professors that I learned from, like a lot of these subjects that I took, right? We had 32 credits, and of course, just HKS itself gave us the option, pick, just 4 courses or 3 courses or 5 courses, which was very challenging out of the 300 that we had. And of course, for cross-registration, we had some thousands to go about, right? So I must say, it was just not the classes that made my experience so amazing at Harvard. It was my classmates too, because we had classmates who were mayors, who were UN members, who were we had professors. Samantha Power was our professor from Obama administration. So we had people of such rich, diverse experience. Just a coffee with a classmate would give you their entire life experience, and you would never leave a meeting. You would just be enriched after you leave a meeting, right? It could be just a mere coffee, or it could be mere just networking session. So out of the courses, since you spoke about it, let me tell you a few of my best instances in the course. Okay, in spring semester, I chose Making of a Politician. right? So I come from a political background, and politics is surely something that I look forward to. I'm interested, might be in the future once I finish with running the business and setting up, you never know, right? Making of a Politician by Steve Jardin. It was one of the amazing course. Not having really the experience of not really knowing the in-depth of public policy in America, I said, okay, I'm going to go select myself for being the president for US, and I participated in the mock presidential election, and 4 of us pitched in the whole election process. It was such a learning, right? Me debating with my classmates who were like, all of them were from US, and it was challenging, but what a soul-filling experience it was. So that was one. That is something that I always will keep in mind. I took in the I think it was fall, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it was during the fall, Exercising Leadership Skills by Ronald Heifetz. It was really life-changing. So what I learned from all of these courses, like, I did comparative politics. I even did a cross registration at HBS, executing strategy. I had amazing professors, but one course that I apply even till date, and it changed me as a human being, I can say, is Exercising Leadership Skills. Basically, after so many years of work experience, you end up, it's not like you just look outside and learn from it.
Yeah.
It's like you go deep inside and you ask yourself, what are your beliefs? What are your perspectives? And when your beliefs and perspectives are kind of challenged by so many classmates of yours, because they are grown up from different perspectives, they have grown up in different environment, and their challenge, the question that they throw at you is a very genuine one. So you go deep down and you ask yourself, is this what it is really? And then when the final answer arrives, you are changed as a person. So every day sitting in Exercising Leadership class was like, you were attending a counseling class, and also you're learning leadership skills about how do you look at the society, what is the environment it is set in, and how, as a leader, can you make an impact? So, the balcony view is what we always called the terminology that we used. It really did change me a lot as a human being, and also my goals, what I want to achieve in the future. They changed the whole. It changed, and I'm looking forward to those perspectives. So yeah, that's
one thing that. One thing that stood out to me, Rashmi, from your description was how innovative the teaching methods are, not just the classes, but how they're taught as well. And I was curious if any of that, first of all, what you got from that. So, for example, running for politician, like, what is that? What do you learn in that? And then secondly, is that something you've brought with you to ScoreLeap and the kinds of things you do here?
Putting yourself out there and being in such a unknown environment where I was clueless about the policies of US, but then taking up the challenge kind of said, yes, anything is doable, right? Yes, of course, there were soft skills that I learned, like how to launch a campaign, how do you go about preparing for your speeches, right? How do you work in a group? We had a lot of simulations. We worked in groups always. How do you manage time? As you probably know, time is the biggest constraint that we have in Harvard College, and constantly have to make those choices about, okay, right away, what's the choice I can make, and where do I need to be, and what's my priority, right? So you constantly are doing that. So that itself changes you as a person. And I would say, I remember even till date, Steve Jardin mentioning that once you go back through the world out there, what is the change that you're going to bring about? And you own it to the world. So what is that you? So it still keeps ringing in my ears. So yeah, it has changed me so much. That's what I can. That's what I can say.
Yeah, makes so much sense.
Yeah. Cool. So tell me, other than the academics, the whole academics part that you did, what were the other activities that you did? Like, other than your credit scores that would probably require you to get your B and B plus, right?
Yeah.
Above that's when Harvard kind of says, okay, you passed.
Yeah. No.
What did you do outside? Because there are so many more opportunities when it comes to Harvard. So what are the other things that you did through?
It really is like drinking from a fire hose because there's just so many things you could do. So the two biggest things I did are probably research. So I was a research assistant for professors through undergrad, did that during my summers as well. And so is what set me off on the path towards doing a master's and a PhD and also setting up Lumiere. And the other thing that I did was I continued competitive debating. So I was on Harvard's debate team. I was president of the team in my third year. And continued to represent Harvard at the World Championships at the university level as well. But beyond that, just the set of things I did, I was an advisor for first-year students. I served in this theater troupe that went and did plays for kids in hospitals who were very sick, and you needed to set something up for them. I was part of the satirical magazine where I wrote a piece about how sort of a satirical piece on India and gender relations in India. I worked with the sort of Indian community at Harvard to set up a conference for students in India who are from India in India, and also got to know a whole bunch of people. So I ate at all the cool restaurants, went out into Boston every now and then, probably not as much as I should have, but still a little bit, and just had a blast outside of it as well. I think, Rashmi, given that I went there when I was 17 and you went there when you were a little bit older, I suspect that experience might have been a little bit different for you. So I was curious whether extracurricular activities still played as much of a role at the graduate school level, or if it was more socializing and traveling and things like that.
Absolutely. You were so much on point. Like once you're of that years of experience, academics, like, okay, we did great, and but we, like, in Harvard, they say you have to pick 2 S out of 3. I don't know if you've heard of that. Sleep, study, and socialize. Pick 2. You can't have the luxury of all 3. I always heard that among my group. And we were consistently trying to get some sleep or socialize, right? And yes, very much. We networked quite a lot because we were all people with so many years of experience, and there's so much more to learn from each other, and learning people, like people were from different countries, different cultures. So that itself, just that session of attending an event session, like we would taste a particular country recipe because somebody cooked, and different cuisines basically. So that itself would go on. Dances, like we would learn each other countries different dances, and people would teach to each other. Just small things which kind of like built in the bond with us. Having said that, I before I had gone in, I had made sure that I had few things that I really wanted to do. In US, hiking, it gives you an amazing opportunity to hike. So I have some photos to share too. I probably can share in here. I prepared one. I was thinking you would also share too, if I'm not wrong. Dhruva.
I don't have anything ready, but I'm sure I could pull something up if we have the time for it.
So hiking was something that I did. I hiked many places. Then the second thing that I was really passionate about was kayaking with my friends. I went to kayaking many times. That's something that I did. I was a member of Wine and Food. Very importantly, let me tell you, Kennedy School has amazing centers which help you to pursue further research into any topic that you're interested. There is IOP, and one of the ones that I was very active was Women and Public Policy program, which had a training session called From Harvard Square to Oval Office. I was selected into that particular program, and it was an amazing experience. We got to meet many of the congresswomen who were just entering the administration that particular year. We got to hear about their first-hand experience in building campaign, the whole strategy for campaign, how do you raise fund for that, public speaking. So we were firsthand trained on all of these to really run for an office. So I would say that experience was amazing. It's something that will always stay with me. I look forward to. We also are planning to bring that particular course. It already exists, but to make it a better one to India, wherein we can help train many women who can go out there and confidently, face any of the campaigns as such, the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, whichever one that they want to. So that's something that I'm passionate about. What else? Okay, let me just might as well just share some interesting pictures.
Yeah, while you get that up, Rashmi, one thing that I noticed about what you said was you said that you guys network a lot, and then you described the kinds of things you say. And I think, especially in India, we have a very weird conception of what networking means. We think of it as like, figure out who are the people who can help you the most, who are the most prominent families, and then try and become friends with them. And if that's what people try to do, I feel like you can immediately tell, and no one likes those folks. In comparison, to me, building a network just means having fun with people and building relationships, and then once you have a strong foundation where you've seen each other at your sweatiest in the middle of a hike, then later on when you need to get advice from them or have a conversation with them about something, I think it becomes so much easier to approach them and say, hey, remember me? I wanted to figure out your advice about how to transition into consulting or transition into politics. So I don't know if that resonates with your experience there, and those photos definitely seem to speak to that.
Yes, very much. You're right on spot. It's the networking that you do and make. So it's not just the networking of your friends, as you just mentioned, Dhruv. It's not just that. They remain, Harvard alumni community is a very active and a strong community, right? It remains throughout with you. Anytime you can just, if not for anything, even just like, okay, let's just have a cup of coffee together, right? Just merely just that. Or what do you think about this opinion? Or what do you think about, what's your opinion on this perspective, right? Just interesting conversations can just fill up that whole session itself, right? So you tell me, what was your process in actually applying? Something that our students, whoever watching, can, some pointers that you would like to give in here to the students who are watching. What should they keep in mind when they apply for undergrad? Some tips on that perspective, Dhruva.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think applying, at least when I applied, it was a combination of SATs, SAT subject test, which no longer exists, so you don't have to worry about that. Essays, so there's a main Common App essay that you have to submit, as well as supplemental essays tailored to each college that you are applying to. 2 recommendation letters from teachers and 1 recommendation letter from a school counselor, and then your resume that lists out your activities. For international students, you sometimes get an interview with an admissions officer or an alumnus, but that's not always assured. And I think the most important thing with all of these is that you're thinking really hard about when that admissions officer is reading thousands of admissions applications that are coming their way. What is the thing that you want sticking in their minds? What is it that sets you apart from the other candidates? And how do you establish that through your application, through the story that you tell? while also demonstrating that you're strong in all of the basics, that you've got a strong academic base, that you've got a strong social bent, and all of those things, but that also there's something that sets you apart from others. So it's that balance that you're looking to strike. And I think that's also where Lumiere is something that a lot of students have found useful because research both establishes their academic experience and skill and also allows them to demonstrate that they have gone above and beyond what most high school students have done to do something really pretty cool and exciting.
Cool. And I also see we are actually running out of time. I did realize me and you kind of like took off. We've taken off like the question and answer session time too. But anyway, that was amazing talk. Probably, people who are watching this got more insight into what activities that, just sharing our own perspective, what activities and what they can look forward to, and aim at top Ivy League schools. That itself is an amazing topic itself. But we do have one question. I think we'll just take like one question before we end it, so that last few minutes we can just take that session. And if anybody has any queries, please reach out to us. Sanya and Paiswini will put up the email ID. So please feel free to reach or call us. Same at your end, Dhruva, if you can provide your contact.
For sure.
That'd be great. Yes, Sanya, can we just take in that question that we have?
Yeah.
Yes. Before we get to that question, Rashmi, do you have any advice that you would like to give to potential candidates and also to those who are looking to take the GMAT or the GRE?
Yeah, but if I'm not wrong, I would love to do that. But unfortunately, I'm thinking we are running out of time. So so what I would say is maybe we can have another session. And I would say if you guys are looking to prepare for GMAT, GRE, or your admission process, please reach out to us. We can fix up that one-on-one counseling session and talk to you in detail, look at your profile in detail, and help you with the required process, right? And I would just, since Sanya brought in this, I would just say one thing. It requires time. It's a time-consuming process. So please start early, right? Just to write any of these exams itself is a 3 to 4 months process. So please start early. So that's one pointer that I would want to end the conversation with. Yeah, yes, Sanya.
We have one question from the audience. This one's for Dhruva. Hi, Dhruva. I'm writing a research paper on cryptocurrency markets. How far can Lumiere help in this?
Oh, fabulous. So we've had a ton of students do research recently on cryptocurrency. And we have mentors who can approach it from different levels. So if you're interested in sort of the computer science behind blockchain and cryptocurrency, we've got a pool of mentors who are experts in that. As well as if you want to approach it from the finance side, look at how the price of Bitcoin has changed over time, for example, or how it interacts with other currencies issued by governments. We've got PhDs who are working on those who'd be glad to serve as mentors as well. So I'd say apply through the application that's on our website and list this as your area of interest. And if you make it through the selection process, I'm sure we can match you with a mentor who can add a lot of value to your process.
Thank you so much.
We have from audience saying, go on. We already, I'm loving it, so we don't have to end the session. That's what I get the message on. So yeah, Dhruva, if you want to add in any more pointers, like any more tips that you want to say, I will also end it with, sorry, Sunny, you're saying something.
We actually have one more question.
Please. Oh, sorry. Yes, please.
So is it possible to switch your stream once you get into your MBA?
Is it possible to, sorry?
Is it possible to change your stream once you've already gotten into a particular course, MBA in this situation?
This one's for you, Rashmi. All yours.
Yeah. No, once you've already gotten, is it a US MBA? That's what the person's talking about? Okay, let me presume that somebody is already pursuing MBA in US. Let me presume that. I would say it is possible, right? No, nothing's impossible. If you choose this is not for you, you're down the lane, you suddenly realize, oh my God, this is not me. Then probably, you know the answer already. So if you don't have your will in it, there is no point in trying to continue with it. But always you can speak to the admission of your college and see in case if you can change the stream. And they would be based on request, few colleges or few, it depends, from college to college. They might help you to switch to whatever that your interest is, or it might not happen. Like I said, it's from college to college, but it's worth a try. If you've already made up your mind a particular course is not for you, I suggest, have that conversation. Second thing that you can think about is most of the college that is in US, although you are pursuing MBA, there are a few mandatory courses that you have to do. In public policy, we have to learn more on public ethics, economics, quant, leadership. So there are certain requirements, such as, so will be with MBA, but you will always have the option to cross-register. See if any of the course that you would like to pursue, if not what you want to pursue next, if that is available, that is another option I suggest. Dhruva, anything, Dhruva, want to add in anything by any chance?
With my vast experience of MBAs, which is exactly zero, but no, I fully echo that one line you said, Rashmi, which is most things are possible if you ask and push. So just because the rules at a university officially say you can't do X, if you make your case, they can be amenable to it, and that I've found is true across both undergrad as well as grad school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have another question for Dhruva. How should we select and brainstorm our essay topic for undergrad in the US?
Great question. So what I did when I was applying, not to undergrad, but I did this for my master's. So I had to apply for the Rhodes Scholarship, and that involved writing an essay that was pretty deep. And so what I did was I took this big sheet of paper, an A3 sheet of paper, and I put down everything that was meaningful to me on my life. So that included people that were important, places that were important, experiences that were important, institutions that were important, and important both in a positive and negative sense. So things that had basically shaped me over time. And once I had that all laid out, I then tried and saw if there were any threads that connected them. And I, based on that, I started to see that there were some patterns that were emerging. I got some essay ideas about how to structure it. I tried and wrote out one or two of them. Some of them came across better than others. And so I ended up going with one of my ideas. And what's important is that you are being authentic and honest and vulnerable. So this is an opportunity for you to demonstrate who you are as a person, and that's a very important part of it, while also demonstrating what are the skills or talents or abilities that you have that make you a good candidate for that university. So you definitely don't want to spend the entire essay beating yourself up, but you want to show that you've got either academic or personal abilities that make you a good fit for the university.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dhruva and Rashmi, for joining us today. This session was definitely very enriching and was a great learning experience. Thank you so much, ScoreLeap, for organizing this session, and thank you, audience, for joining us. We will definitely be getting back to you with more such interesting events. Until then, take care and have an amazing weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a...
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. See you.